Howdy, folks. I'm Decoy Deloy, and it's Friday. It's time for the music news, brought to you by Hello Merch. At Hello, we're always wondering, how can we keep getting better? It's important to try new things and not get stuck in the same old patterns. And that's why we're psyched to see the pre-order for Flay's new EP, I'm Making Friends with the Silence. The new project reimagines songs from her 2023 album, Mono, taking the rock sounds of that project and shifting them into a lower gear. The new project reflects her experiences with single-sided deafness. After I lost my hearing, I was determined to make a big, experimental modern rock record, and that's Mono. But my SSD and profound tinnitus made listening to loud music difficult. Thus, the softer, more organic versions of I'm Making Friends with Silence were born. But it's not just softer. No, this vinyl edition, shipping on or around December 13th, is pressed on EcoSonic vinyl from Good Neighbor, a record manufacturer who uses 100% PET instead of PVC, using a press that requires approximately 90% less energy than a traditional hydraulic press. We all love vinyl, but not the environmental toll. So we're psyched to see artists and plants experimenting with new, sustainable tech. You can grab your copy of I'm Making Friends with the Silence along other great Flay gear now at Hello. In other news, the voice of Grateful Dead leader Jerry Garcia is the latest celebrity AI voice from technology group Elevenlabs. Jerry joins the voices of Burt Reynolds, Judy Garland, James Dean, and Sir Laurence Olivier, who've all been sonically cloned by Elevenlabs and can be employed by users to read audiobooks, articles, poems, PDFs, and more texts in 32 languages. It's fucking crazy. A huge fan of computers and technology throughout his life, Jerry probably would have been into this. In a statement, his daughter Keelan Garcia said, "In the 1990s, my dad introduced me to the computer, digital art, and video games." The Jerry AI project follows the 2021 release of a Jerry Garcia NFT collection featuring some of Jerry's pretty sick digital art. I actually did have a couple of his ties when I was younger.
And you know, he even wound up putting out that line of ties. He had great ties. I would go around wearing Jerry Garcia ties.
They're pretty freaking sweet. Moving on. Gina Birch's feminist punk bonafides are under no question. As a founding member of the Raincoats, she helped inspire Nirvana. Birch released her first solo album, I Play My Bass Loud, in 2023 on Third Man Records. This week, she released a cover of Yoko Ono's Listen, The Snow Is Falling, originally released on the B-side of John Lennon's 1971 single, Happy Christmas, War Is Over. It's one of Yoko's most haunting songs, envisioned by Birch as a Christmas single. She's prepping limited editions of 10 clear vinyl discs and 30 clear plastic flexi discs made on a 1960s lathe-cut machine by Pearl Home Records. In other news, Angel Olsen has announced Cosmic Waves Volume 1, a new covers project featuring songs from Poppy Jean Crawford, Coffin Prick, Sarah Grace White, Maxim Ludwig, and Camp St. Helene on one side, and covers their work by Olsen on the other. Here's a taste of her cover of The Takeover by Poppy Jean.
What if you knew a sudden change took over, and then...
As someone that emerged into the music scene through a small tape label, I've wanted to continue the spirit of discovery and collaboration, Olsen says. It's out on December 6th on her own label, Something Cosmic, with a super limited 1,500 physical edition LP run available through her shop. And to close, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard formed in 2010 in Melbourne, Australia, and since then they've become an absolute powerhouse, crafters of a sprawling fictional zone called the Gizzverse, where they blend psychedelic rock, heavy metal, synth pop, prog rock, throat singing, electronic music, and more. On Saturday, November 9th, they brought their wild show to Phoenix's Arizona Financial Theater. You know I was there, alongside Wastoid's producer, Jason P. Woodbury, who joins me for a little show discussion.
That's the financial fucking arena for ya.
talk about. It's so nice to have Jason on this side of the camera.
What up, Decoy? How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you, Jason.
So this was my first time seeing King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. To be honest, didn't check them out because of their name for a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has a very childish humor thing going on.
I think it's cool. I mean, I tend to think, almost every band name, period, is ridiculous. But King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, you hear that once, you're not gonna forget it. That's for sure. But I gotta say, they were pretty sick, man. How many times have you seen King Gizz?
It's either 6 or 7, and even if it's 6, it wouldn't. I don't know. Even if it was 7, one of them didn't count. I was passed out somewhere.
Because I was blown away how many genres they covered in between metal to sort of like psych stuff to like super jammy stuff to electronic stuff. They're all over the map. Is it always like that?
I would say the best thing about that, or going to one of their live shows, is that you don't know how they're gonna play it out because they have such a large catalog of different styles that they've put out over not even that long. I mean, they've only been around for, 14 years is a long time, but 2010 seems like it was last week to me, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, they have such a large catalog, so it's like you don't know what direction they're going to take every time you see them live.
The crowd was really, reminded me of a jam band crowd because they were sort of like, they were there for all the variety. They were into everything that was going on. But beyond that, I mean, even just down to like dancing, like people, it seemed like Grateful Dead style.
People just keep moving.
Fish dancing. And it was nuts to me that like when they're doing the sort of like speed or the sort of like thrash metal inspired stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's all sorts of, there's moments that are really doomy. There's moments that are thrashy. There's moments that are a little bit more like, math rock is a terrible term, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
lack of a better term. But no matter what they were,
choppy stuff.
yeah, kind of tricky time signatures. But no matter what they were doing, the crowd was like bouncing the same way.
That's the thing about like King Gizzard fans too, is they're King Gizz fans through and through, and that's why they keep getting bigger. They keep their fans, And there's people that look at that band and they're like, man, I wish they would just sound the same, or like figure it out, which I've literally heard somebody say before. It's like, I wish they would just figure out their sound, but to other people, they don't want that. They want to see a band that is always changing, it's almost like it's part of their theme or like their gimmick or whatever. It's like they want people to know that they're never going to be done putting out a new style or.
The different guys, Stu had a really cool vibe. Stu sort of like, I guess maybe the de facto front man.
Yeah.
But they all got chances to sing, obviously. Him, Joey, and Ambrose Kinney Smith, who we've talked about on Music News before for his other projects.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's in Murloc. I mean, so all these dudes, they bounce around, and the crowd was super into it. I think we have one clip that would be worth checking out. It's where they brought somebody up on stage to introduce the song Nuclear Fusion. So let's check that clip out.
What's your name? I'm Rob. Rob? Everyone, fucking yeah for Rob. Fucked up Rob. All right, fucked up Rob, you know what to do.
We're like watching them do all this stuff. Next thing you know, they're rolling out a full rack of like modular synths, and it was like an island, like a floating island of gear is like brought onto stage, and then all the guitarists abandoned their guitars for like 25 minutes.
I like how they slowly dipped away too. Like they finished like a couple parts of the song, and then they're like, all right, my turn to go over there.
I did sort of feel bad that Kenny's like off to the side because he's always playing keyboards, so he's just sort of doing his normal thing at his normal rig. But he got to run around the stage all night too, which is pretty dope. They were raving, and then they came back and went right back into the guitar stuff.
And back on how like the crowd appreciates the music too.
Yeah.
I would say at that point, like the dance part of the night, people were going super crazy. Like, I love the idea that they can put out that thrash, doomy sound and then go into that, and people just appreciate it all the same.
Yeah, and it also is kind of like a cool. It's like a middle finger to this idea that like people say like you have to carve out your niche and like sound this one way and like don't throw fans off, the people have all these different rules. And then you see a band like King Gizz, they break every rule in the book, and not only are they appreciated on a cult level, they're appreciated on a huge level. We're talking about Arizona Financial Theater, so it was like a really big
It was
thing,
packed.
and it was
It
packed.
was really packed. Out of any band I've seen there, I have to say they sounded incredible in that room.
They had an incredible sound.
Incredible sound. It was so nuts. Being like guitar nerds like we are too. Like when I hear a good guitar tone, immediately I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a good time for me.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention the microtonal guitars, the extra fretted guitars, which they brought out. I know they've done like a whole set of albums that are in that style, but they just did a little of it with this show, and it ripped. They were
It does rip, yeah.
they were good. I think I would say if you are a fan of creative music, if you're a fan of rock music,
Not even just rock music. If you're just a fan of seeing cool shit.
if you're a fan of seeing cool shit, check out King Gizz.
All right, everyone. Decoy and Jason out.
Music.